Hi YouTube, this is Minister Mike coming to you with sulfite-free cooking, and today we're going to make a sulfite-free chili. Well, more or less. You'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, we're back. Now, Mike's Awesome Chili. Let's go over the ingredients for this. We have the following. We have our ground turkey. Big thing ground turkey. We're not going to use all of this. This is quite too much for this recipe, but we'll use a good portion of it. We'll cook it all up and use it later. We have 33% less sodium Swanson's chicken broth. This is a good chicken broth to use because it doesn't contain much of anything except just vegetables and chicken stock. So that's a pretty clean one to use, as is the beef broth. I don't usually put this in this recipe, but I'm going to change it up just a little bit. And so 50% less sodium, healthy. You can use a little bit of beef broth. We'll see when that is. So we got our tomatoes here, 6 tomatoes here, a shallot, good size, some butter. We have some fresh basil. I'm going to clean that up. And we have a big bunch of kale. And so we're going to clean that up as well. And we'll get to making this in just a minute here. This will be, what I'm missing here is a tomato paste. Okay, had to run and get this. This is Newman's Own marinara. I'm going to use half a jar of this. I don't usually put this in the chili because this has things in it that you probably shouldn't have, like soybean oil and garlic, spices, onion. So these are things that are probably not good to have if you're really sensitive to sulfites. A friend of mine asked me for a special chili for his birthday, and so I'm going to make it with, he likes it with the marinara sauce rather than the tomato paste. But I would say use the tomato paste, two of those small cans of tomato paste, or 2 or 3, and that should be fine because that's just plain tomato paste and shouldn't have anything else in it. But I'm going to make it with this for this special occasion. Okay. Oh, he also asked for the beef broth, so I'm going to also make it with this. But I typically wouldn't use a beef broth in this recipe. So what I'm going to do is prepare everything. I'm going to cook up the turkey, cook up the entire turkey, and I'm going to prepare everything, get it ready for putting together, and then we'll come back and see how this is made. Okay? Stay tuned. As I'm cooking up this turkey, I'm not putting any spices in it. No pepper, maybe a bit of salt, but keep away from the spices. Dried spices tend to be pretty high in sulfites. If you're not that sensitive, I guess you can get away with it. But if you've really got a sensitivity like I do, then you want to watch that. Okay, I've got the turkey just about finished here. I don't want to overcook it because it's going to be in the chili for an hour and 20 minutes or so. So just until the pink starts fading away. That'll be good. Then we can set that aside and get on with the rest of our preparation. I think we've got everything pretty much prepared. We've got our big bowl of kale here. We've got our sauce, which remember, tomato paste if you're really sensitive. A couple of opened cans of black beans here. Just beans, water, and salt. 2 of those, and I've got to drain these, but the kidney beans. Now, you might not really have to drain these because this is really just beans, water, and salt as well. But the one I used previously gave it a bitter taste when I used the juice. Although, to be fair, the best by date was about 3 years. Well, anyway, I drained these. We have our chopped up large shallot. We have our basil, fresh basil chopped up. We have our 6 tomatoes all, well, a little bit less juice, but 6 tomatoes chopped up. And I think we're ready to go. So, we've got our turkey here, all cooked up. We're just going to use part of that turkey, not all of it. I'm going to just use our judgment there. And so, got our broth, everything. I'm going to open these up, and I think we'll be ready to go. So, hold on just a second, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. This is about the best I can do with this ancient MacBook Pro that I have that still had iMovie and iDVD, which, yay. So this is the cooked down shallots. They're just translucent here. And we're going to turn up the heat here and start adding our ingredients. On the right knob. Okay, so we want just kind of a medium heat. And we're going to start adding our black beans, the entire can there. Remember, it's just black beans, water, and sea salt. So that's going to be good. Okay, got those done. We've got our strained kidney beans. I didn't wash them off, they're just strained. We've got 2 cups of the chicken broth here. There's the chicken broth, that's low sodium chicken broth, that's the Swanson's. It's, again, pretty clean. The tomatoes, we've got the 6 whole chopped up tomatoes. I'm going to go right in there. Turn up the heat. There we go. Okay. Give that a little bit of a stir in here. So that's looking pretty good. We've got this this marinara sauce that we're going to put in this version of the chili. Again, it was requested. I wouldn't recommend it, but it does turn out darn good with this Newman's Own, a half jar of this marinara sauce here. It does turn out good. Now also, it was requested that I put a little bit of beef broth in there. And so along with the Swanson's chicken broth, I've got some of the beef broth. It's low sodium. And I'm going to put that, just a little bit of that, maybe half a cup, into the marinara sauce, and kind of swirl that around, get the rest of that out of there. Don't want to waste. And so, here we are. Looking good here. Okay, we're not going to add the kale or the basil just yet. We'll wait on those for just a few minutes. But I do want to put in some of this turkey. So let's get some spoonfuls of this turkey going in here. Gives it a really good flavor, this lean turkey. This is the 93% lean, 7% fat turkey that we have here. And it's, I think that's probably just about enough. I want some for burritos later in the week. Just a little bit more, so we do love that turkey. Okay, so that's good for that. And we'll stir that in. Get those shallots down there. Stir that in, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Let's get a top on it. Okay, we're going to bring this to a boil, and it's going to take a few minutes to get there. And once it starts boiling, we'll go ahead and put the kale and the basil in as the final ingredients. But I think that's it for now. You can see, get a hot pad here. And you can see the initial consistency of it. It's like a a thin stew sort of thing, and so over time that's gonna thicken up into something really nice without spices. So you notice I didn't put any spices in. This is for the very sensitive. You're welcome to put pepper in or your favorite spice, but yeah, I don't even use salt in this. Okay, so that's it. We're going to wait till this boils, and we'll be back soon. Okay, so just talking to my mom. This is starting to boil now. I turn it down a little bit, and you can see that we got some boiling going on. Put this over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the basil, dump the basil in. All the fresh basil there, about a quarter cup of that fresh basil, and so turn it down a little bit more. And then I'm going to take this kale. This is probably about 2 cups of kale, but it doesn't matter. It's going to cook down. A bunch of kale in there, and let's stir that around a bit. Get that all nice and coated. All that. So that looks good. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cover this for just a few more minutes, let it get heated up, and then we're going to uncover it. So the total time covered is about 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. Then we're going to uncover it, and we're going to cook it for another hour or so. So let's let it cook. Okay. As we can see here, it's cooking away. I'm going to turn the vent on here in just a second, so you won't be able to hear anything. But I'm going to turn this down, and I'm going to let it simmer for, you can see where it's at here. You can, it's going to simmer for about an hour, and I'm going to stir it probably every 5 minutes. So we're about 10 minutes or so into cooking this down, simmering it, and you see it's still, very, very juicy. That's what we expect. That's what we want. We're going to cook this down for another almost an hour or so, and just let it simmer there. So it's looking good, smelling good. Just on an additional note here, I did put a lot of kale in here, but on a previous batch I made, I added almost a cup of chopped up chard, and that was really, really good. So you might add both the kale and the chard to this, just an FYI. One more FYI here, you're going to want to cook this down slowly. Don't boil it at a high temperature. Just make sure it's just bubbling and just simmering. You want to make sure it's cooked slowly. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I've turned up the heat a little bit, increased the rate of cooking. It was too slow for me, so it's up. Looks good. This is about 20 minutes in. Okay, so we're about 45 minutes into this, and you can see where we are here. Thickening up, but still has a ways to go. So just let it simmer and keep the faith. Okay, so we're about, looks like 45 minutes into this simmering here. You can see it's thickening up nicely. Looks good. Smells really good. You can see where we are. This has another at least 15 minutes or so to go, but we're going to turn it off before we get too far because we want some liquid in here when we turn the heat off. It's going to it's going to spend the next 15 or 20 minutes getting rid of a lot of vapor. So we're going to want to turn it off in a timely manner. Okay, back soon. Okay, so we're almost an hour into the simmering. You can see that it's definitely thickening up nicely, but not quite where we want it yet. We've still got another few minutes. You can see as it starts to bubble, everything kind of disappears under the liquid. So yeah, we still got a few minutes to go. Okay, hold on. Okay, so we're back. You can see at about 80 minutes of simmering, we've got a nice thick consistency here, and it's looking more chili-like than stewed-like than it was. So right about at this point here, you're going to want to shut the heat off and just let it sit for about 15 or 20 minutes. It's going to continue to lose moisture. We're going to get a lot of water evaporated over the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. So this is a good consistency here to stop the cooking process and just let it sit for a while. Definitely going to thicken up here, but we don't want to cook it down too much, because not only is it going to lose moisture here, but when you reheat it, it's also going to lose moisture. So you can see this consistency here, looking pretty good, and smelling really good. So hold on just a few more minutes. Okay, we're at about 20 minutes after cutoff of the heat. It's looking good, looking like chili should. Just a little bit more settling here, and we're ready to serve. Want it about this consistency. And so there you go.